The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. Hi everyone, it's Sophia Melonē, the Debt Demolisher, here to bring you the tools, tips, and tricks to help you manage your financial baggage the right way. Welcome to another episode on the Debt Demolisher TV. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that is extremely important. What is that? Self-care. Yes, 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 yes. So recently I did a Budget with Me live stream, and one of the comments that came up during our live chat are, what are some ideas in order to incorporate self-care into our budgets? And I thought that this would be the perfect opportunity to expand a little bit more on those things in terms of what you can do for self-care practices and how you can operate them in a way where it can be very budget friendly for you. Yes, there will be some things that you'll have to pay for. Yes, there will be some things that you may not have to pay for. But the idea is to have a form of self-care embedded within your budgets. We all know that we have to plan. We all know that we want to be able to experience life. And you can experience life as long as you plan for it accordingly. So I'm going to be sharing just a few budget-friendly self-care practices that you can begin to take, and you let me know if you're going to do them or if you aren't. When I started my debt freedom journey, I went through the process of literally just paying all bills. No time for play, no time for fun, no time for relaxation. None of that. And so when I learned that I needed to begin to rejuvenate my brain, to get my body in a healthier space, I started to say, okay, in order to regain my sanity, in order to sustain my sanity, I need some self-care. And that looked like massages. So the first budget-friendly self-care idea that I want to share with you is to budget for a massage. You can budget for a massage. You can plan that out. You can call around to different shops to see what are the rates for a 60-minute massage? What are the rates for a 90-minute massage? What are the rates for a 120-minute massage? So that way you can begin to craft out your budgets and plan accordingly for that. One of the things that could also be very helpful with getting massage type services, maybe for a cheaper price, is to check out Groupon. Groupon has so many deals. If you want to find a way to get a massage for a cheaper price, if you want to be able to test out different massage parlors, go to Groupon, find one that's within your budget, plan for it, set it up, schedule it, use your certificate, and use your certificate for self-care by getting a massage. The next thing is you could actually do something that won't cost you any money, which is finding a state park that is within your area that you could actually go to. This was something that I actually didn't really know about. We often say that we live in these areas, or when we go to different places, we treat ourselves as a tourist. But what about looking at the tourist spots that may be in your own backyard? When I started to go into the self-care practice space, I said, I need to find a space of nature. So I found like a state park, a national park that is, of course, run by the Department of Interior. And I found one of the local parks, and it was beautiful. One of the memorials, it was beautiful in the middle of nature. You could see the trees, you could see the water, you could see some of the people, you could see picnics, you could see grasses, just depending on which state park that you're able to find, or which national park that you're able to find, or which memorial place you are able to find. So when I felt like I needed a break and I needed to get away, my thing was I found a nearby park that was probably maybe a 40-minute drive away, 45-minute drive away, because for me, I love to see the water. So I love to be not in the water, but by the water. I just love to watch the water and just think about how amazing God's creation is. And the water is one thing that I love to look at, and also the skies. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love looking at a sunny sky. It just brings me a piece of calm. It brings me a sense of tranquility. It brings me just this space of, like I can breathe. So when I am looking for a space of self-care and I may not want to necessarily spend on a service, I will go and find a nearby park that I could go and just sit there. I can go and I can read a book there. I can go and I can gaze at the sky, gaze at the clouds, gaze not directly at the sun, but I could actually just be in awe of God's creation. And that literally allows me to reset. So you can do the same thing, depending on where you live, depending on what you're close by. Do some research to find a nearby park that's near you that you can just plop yourself to go to on a however often basis that you prefer. If it's a weekly thing that you want to do, if it's a bi-weekly thing that you want to do, if it's an ad hoc thing, meaning whenever you feel like you need a break, then you go to the space or you find a new place to go, definitely do that. That is something that could actually clear your mind, free your mind, and allow you to not only be in nature, but nature is healthy for you. It's healthy for you. So just breathe in and breathe out. The next idea, which is a really budget-friendly self-care practice, is to take yourself on an ice cream date. So I did this before when I was downtown in a very popular area in my city. I was walking around the Memorial Park where I could see the water and I could just sit at the benches, or I could just sit at the memorial parks and I could just gaze at the water. I started to walk the neighborhood. I started to walk around the area. And when I walked around the area, I saw a Hershey ice cream parlor. And I was like, I don't think I've ever gone to one. At least I don't remember ever going to one. So I said, let me just stop in here and give myself an ice cream. So I remember it was a warm, sunny day, and I went inside and I got all of my favorite flavors. I got cookie and cream. I had the chocolate chips inside of it, and I had the sugary cone, the waffle cone. It was so good, so good. And I just sat outside of the ice cream parlor and just enjoyed my ice cream by myself. And I just sat there and I just ate it, and I just watched people walk by, and it was extremely relaxing for me. So if you are someone who are not afraid to go out alone or to get an ice cream by yourself and sit down and just have a moment to just breathe, I want to suggest that you do that, because the ice cream only cost me about $6 and it was very, very, very enjoyable. So if you want to have a moment of separation and feel maybe a sweet tooth, treat yourself to an ice cream parlor date. Another really cool budget-friendly self-care idea is to purchase some self-empowerment cards. Now, there are several self-empowerment card options that are available. You can find them on Amazon, you can find them maybe in Walmart, you can find them in different places, but get yourself a batch of cards or get yourself a box of these self-empowerment cards. And when you feel like you need a space of just separation from what you may be doing in your normal day, you may feel like you need a space to just unplug for a second, pull a card out of that box and read it and use it for your reflection. They have self-empowerment cards that have quotes on them as well as affirmations. They have self-empowerment cards that have quotes on them too, as well as questions that you could ask yourself to help you get clear on certain things. So if you are someone who maybe enjoys to journal, if you are someone who allows the journaling process to allow you to reset and have that sense of calm, then definitely leverage the self-empowerment card tactics and then couple it with the journaling, so that way you can kind of write out what you are taking away from the quote that you're reading, from the affirmation that you're reading, or from the question prompt that you received from the self-empowerment card. The next budget-friendly self-care idea is none other than treating yourself to a manicure and a pedicure. Now, for some of you, your manis and your pedis may be something that you just have to have and you have to do. So it may not really feel like a self-care for you because you already do it. But for some of you who may have felt like, okay, I need to trim back on some of my expenses, so I'm temporarily cutting off manis and pedis for now until I'm able to reach my goal, you could incorporate the process to budget for a mani or a pedi on a frequent, or not even a frequent, but on a periodic basis. So you can use the mani and the pedi appointments as your self-care practice. Think of it from this perspective. How does it feel when you're sitting in a pedicure chair? How does it feel when you're getting your feet soaked in that warm water? How does it feel when the technician is wrapping your feet and wrapping your legs in the warm towels, or using the hot stones to rub on it? How do you feel when your nails are freshly manicured and you're just looking like, okay? How do you feel when your eyebrows are freshly waxed? You can use these everyday things that you may have temporarily had to put on hold as a self-care practice for you. Or even if it's something that you do regularly, I want to challenge you to use that time as your self-care time. So when you're in the pedicure bowl, what can you do? What can that mean? Maybe not using your phone while you're in the pedicure bowl. Maybe not just having endless or mindless conversations with the nail tech while you're in there. It could be used as a form for you to really look at this space as your time. You are getting pampered. So treat it like a pampering situation, even though you may not necessarily be at like a spa place, but you could also look at your manis and pedis as a form of pampering for you. And an additional self-care idea that's budget friendly could kind of go with what I mentioned with the first one with the massages, but this one is actually getting a facial. And I actually shared this on the live stream that we did, where I said that I actually want to consider doing that. I'm very sensitive about my face, so there aren't a lot of things that I put on my face because I have my own at-home remedy that I typically use, but I really want to know what it feels like to get a facial done professionally. So can you find a space to budget for a facial and use that as your self-care practice? So that is something that may be a little bit more costly depending on what type of facial you get. But the idea is to do your research. Your idea is to find the deals. The idea is for you to go to Groupon to see how you can be able to get these self-care practices incorporated into your budgets at a very cost-effective rate. So you can consider facials, you can consider massages, you can consider manis and pedis, you can consider getting your eyebrows waxed, even though maybe not, maybe so. That probably doesn't really feel like a self-care practice because they're literally waxing your eyebrows off, or they're being threaded. So it could be a little bit painful. So you could disregard that piece, but treat it how you really want to experience or see it for yourself. Here's the idea before I jump into the remainder of the self-care ideas that I want to share with you guys. You have to think about what brings you calm, what brings you peace, what brings you poise. Because when you are in a space of self-care, that means you are allowing yourself to be replenished. So what replenishes you? What gets you calm? What gets you into that space of allowing yourself to continue to keep going? So think very, very closely about that to say, if I think about what calms me or what gets me excited or what allows me to reset, what activity would that look like? So think about that while I share some more activities. The next one, and this is for those of you who may swim, who may not be afraid of water. So it's not that I'm afraid of water, I just can't swim, so I don't like to get in the water. But if you are a swimmer, a self-care practice could be you making sure that you set maybe recurring times or frequent times for you to go to swim at maybe a private club, if you're a club member somewhere, or if you are a part of a gym that has a swimming pool, or if you can go to a nearby recreation center that has a pool that you can go into, depending on the weather, of course. So looking at that perspective to say, swimming calms me. Swimming gets me excited. Swimming allows me to relax. Swimming gets me rejuvenated. That can be something that you can incorporate into your self-care practice. And depending on the option that you choose to get into the vicinity where you can swim, it could be free or it could cost you a little bit, but the idea is you got a budget for it. All right, now for the 7th budget-friendly self-care idea. You know what you can do? If you are someone who wants to get into the space of meditation, you could definitely sign up or go to an app that could give you the opportunity to participate in a guided meditation. And you can do this via live stream. I mentioned that there's an app that I use, if you guys remember, where I had one of the meditation teachers come on to our live during the Bet Your Spending Challenge to facilitate a meditation session for us, Chris Lingham. She is a meditation coach, and she also is an instructor on Insight Timer. An Insight Timer is an application that basically allows you to go onto the site for free at no cost, where you could join in on live streams by maybe facilitators or meditation specialists that are live on the platform, or take a course or take a guided meditation that they have available on their platforms for free. You can utilize this app if you want to allow yourself to reset. You can say, hey, this is going to be my meditation day, so I'm going to use the Insight Timer in order to do that. So if you don't know what the Insight Timer is, just Google it, look it up, download the app if that's something that you're interested in. And that could definitely be a form of self-care for you that won't cost you anything, unless you want to donate to maybe some of the teachers or the instructors that are on there, because you do get the opportunity to donate to them. And you can use it from that perspective, and it can really help you with resetting and calming if that's something that works for you. Number 8, this is one that I'm actually looking forward to doing, and that is to go away and rent out a mini, what do you call it? Those tiny homes. Rent out a tiny home for a weekend. Just get away so that you can get away from your atmosphere if you can, change your scenery a little bit, and book a weekend getaway at one of the tiny house locations. Depending on where you live, and depending on even if you may have to travel to get there, there are places where they have Airbnb type tiny home spaces in wooded areas or in trail areas if you are a nature type person, or if you just really want to get like a home that can allow you just to get away for a little bit. You can do that by just finding the bookings for tiny homes. This is something that I want to actually do because I'm considering getting a tiny home, and I want to know what it looks like, what it feels like, what the experience could be like before I actually jump into that thing. So one of the things that I'm planning to do is look for a space where I could rent out a tiny home for a weekend to see how I would like living or having space in that environment. And you can use that as a self-care getaway trip for you. If you want to do it for a day, 2 days, 3 days, you get to choose, but find a way to just rent out a tiny home for a couple of days and get away and see how you like it. Last but not least, the last self-care tip idea is something that's probably going to shock a lot of you. And this one isn't going to cost you a dime. And that is, you got to turn your phone off. So many times we are so distracted by everything that is going on in our lives. And that's because we have instant access to notifications on everything. And not only that, people have instant access to us, which means that they're calling, that they're texting, and that someone wants you to look at this, someone wants you to see this, someone wants you to read this. So you're constantly getting notifications, not only from people that you know, but also from social media platforms, also from emails, also from everything. So how can you set yourself up to unplug for a day? So the 10th self-care idea that I want to challenge you guys to do, that's going to be completely free, is to turn off your phone and hide it in your closet for an entire day. Don't touch your phone at all for an entire day, and allow yourself to be free from disruptions, free from requests, free from interruptions, and free from distractions, because you have a purpose and a mission to fulfill. And if you're running around on ice, if you're running around on needles, if you're running around on coffee, and you feel like you don't have time to pause or break, you need a self-care practice. And you need to have a self-care practice that you can incorporate into your budgets so that it can be done consistently. And even if the self-care practice is free, you still want to have a plan for it. So put it down, write it out, turn off your phones, get your ideas together, and decide the dates in which you plan to actually execute on these self-care ideas. So I hope that this helped you, and I hope that you really got some value out of some of the budget-friendly self-care ideas that I shared with you guys. Please let me know in the comments which one you are going to try, because I would love to know. And then not only that, go down into the description box and check out some of the links that I shared about tiny homes for you to check out there, as well as also looking at the Groupon deals that may be available. And not only that, checking out one of the playlists that's on my channel that can definitely serve you in helping you set up your budgets for this year so that it can incorporate now self-care. Remember, your financial prosperity awaits you, and I will see you on the next episode. Y'all know what to do. Get to work. Bye. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia Melone. The Debt Demolisher TV with Sophia